What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and you're watching the B1KER Bar Podcast. So earlier you were saying you could teach somebody how to manual, or you were talking about teaching somebody how to manual. And I was like perusing through your channel before we got on here, and I saw that you built a computer to like teach people how to manual. You got to tell me about this thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of ways like that you could teach people or teach yourself to manual. I know the manual machine was pretty popular, but I don't think I've actually seen anyone like use it successfully. It's like people who know how to manual build them and then like play around.
Yeah.
And
I should try to build one because I have no clue how to manual. And I was never a guy that was like into wheelies. Like I had my friends that like, I think it was all my one buddy's fault because he could like wheelie for like 3 miles. So it was like nobody else wanted wheelie because like he'll just show you how like, oh, I'm gonna wheelie down the street for the next mile, and I'm gonna wheelie right up the railing of the bridge and across the bridge and back down the other side. And you're like, get out of here, dude. I'm gonna do something else then. You know?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I just learned to wheelie really not that long ago. Like 2 years ago, I kind of just got went into a parking lot and just started doing wheelies because I could manual, but I'd never. And BMX, you don't really sit down and pedal, so it's a weird feeling.
Right.
But yeah, I think the one thing I do want to build that just would take a lot of time is I want to build they have them for motorbikes. It's like what would you call it? They're on wheelchairs too to stop you from going all the way back, like kind of.
Yeah.
So you could just go all out, pull up the front wheel, and then when you go too far back, something would catch you. Like 2 wheels or something, because a lot of people that I've seen practicing, like that's the big scary part,
right?
It's just like committing to it, and I have that problem now with nose manuals. Like I'm really scared to get up into it, and so I thought, what if you had basically a coach, in my case, just a beeping machine. That basically just yells.
Well, let's explain it so people that didn't see the video. So you built this little computer that basically has a beep, and when you pull up to do the manual, it beeps when you get closer, like beeps faster as you get closer to the manual spot, and then it stops when you're in the right spot.
Yeah, so I have it being like as annoying as possible until you're doing your manual. Yeah, you basically it beeps really slow on the flat, and then you just choose whatever angle you think you're should be going to, and then as it approaches it beeps faster and faster until you get into sort of I put this a few angles where it was okay,
right?
And then once you start to go, and then I had it once you start to go like a little too far back, it would just turn fully on, and then
like the flat line sound, like
grab the brake as hard as you can right there, and it's kind of like I'd be curious to see if it would help anyone. It was just a fun little project.
I thought like when I saw it, I was like, this is such a cool idea. Like, I bet you it was a lot of fun just to build in general as well.
Yeah. What part of it was I just I kind of gotten out of that kind of stuff, and I was like, I should probably build something just so I don't forget.
Yeah.
And I was like, make a video about it and kill as many birds.
You use like a little like Raspberry Pi or something like that?
Yeah, so I used an Arduino, and it's pretty simple. It ended up just being I bought an Arduino Uno, and then I just popped the chip off of it, the lat melt chip, and then I put it in a breadboard, and so it ended up just being that a battery and the buzzer, I think, and because luckily even the lat melt chip has a lot of little stuff inside it to
that's super cool.
Stuff out for you, and
I always wanted to do a project with a Raspberry Pi, and I was like, man, I need to come up with something. And finally, like I was like, they got all these emulators you can play like old Nintendo games and PS4 and like Atari and stuff like that. I was like, I'm gonna build a little emulator, and so I built this little Raspberry Pi. And I'm like, I got to get a cool case for it, And then I'm like, I need the original Atari controllers, the original Nintendo controllers, original Super Nintendo controllers. So that way, whatever game I'm playing with the right controller. Because, playing Super Mario Brothers with like an Xbox controller, it just doesn't feel right.
Yes,
right.
Right.
You have to have the right controller. So then I go buy all these controllers, and this is just how my life is. Everything snowballs, right? Yeah. So then I buy all these controllers, and I was like, I need something to carry all these controllers in because I need to have all this stuff together, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, it would be cool if I bought like a little old suitcase, like a little suitcase box, and I'd stick all that stuff in there, and then I could carry it around when I go to my friend's house. Hey, man, we're gonna play some Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I put the shit in the box, I'm like, man, that would be really neat if this box had a screen in it. So essentially, I end up building a laptop. But it turned out really cool. Like it looks like this little box that's like, it looks like a suitcase, you know, and like a little tiny like 10 by 12 suitcase. You open it up, got a screen in it. You can plug it into your TV, or you can just like let it sit in your garage and collect dust because that's what you did for a year.
Those projects are really good. Gives you an idea of just how things work. And there's so much more documentation now and like libraries and instructables that guide you through the whole thing that it's a good time for all that kind of stuff.
If you like that, make sure you check out the full episode. And hey, do me a favor, before you take off, hit the like and subscribe.